Hey traders, checking into the stock market today. We knew it was going to be today and tomorrow that were key to gauge the FOMC reaction. The bulls punched the bears in the mouth yesterday. The bears regained their composure and they were ready to fight. So with the pregame live stream this morning, and I'm going to do that again tomorrow, covering for Lori, who will be back. Now she knows what it feels like. Anytime I travel, massive volatility happens. So the S&P 500, we've got a quadruple top. And this is now our clear guide. And just like we had our clear guide on the NASDAQ from a few weeks ago, we can make a simple statement. If this level is resistance, the bears have complete control of the daily time frame. So today felt like an absolute bloodbath, and it was, but we still could set a daily higher low. Now that's the less likely scenario for me just because of the size of the retracement, but it's important to gauge where we're coming from, because if I look at the screen today, QQQ down 5%. It's almost astounding that we're not at lower lows right now. But whenever you see a bull move preceding a bear move, things can get a lot more extreme because RSI levels, oversold conditions, take a lot longer to be reached. And we've seen that many times on this drop overall. So it's important to keep in mind. Really, the last time we saw it was 2 Thursdays ago. Thursdays are notable in terms of the amount of bear Thursdays there are out there. But last 2 Thursdays ago, I should say, we dumped for 2 days straight. And we didn't get that extreme because it was after a 3-day little bounce. And RSI levels cool off from oversold conditions. They rise up towards overbought, and it allows for a big drop. Again, the 4-hour time frame did not hit oversold conditions today after this big time drop. So SPY held on a little bit better than the NASDAQ, and that was thanks to both the financial sector and healthcare sector. Healthcare down 2%, financial sector down just under 3%, but QQQ down 5%. And QQQ is not leading a bounce, that's for sure. So if we were going to see a miracle saved by the bulls, they would need to control tomorrow and Monday to try and shape up a daily higher low and break of resistance. But again, that is not the most likely scenario for me. Hourly, we had a little bear flag today. Looks like we're bouncing a little bit after hours. Not significant, but we got a clear hourly lower high resistance level to be watching. And looking at it from SPY's perspective, we would need to break the hourly lower highs, confirm an hourly trend change if the bulls were going to pull off the Hail Mary. Otherwise, we're in a daily downtrend. We continue to reject from resistance. We rejected by 2 pennies here. And if we drop down and break 405, the daily downtrend continues. And you could feel the days like today. A day like today emboldens bears and just absolutely crushes bulls in terms of completely erasing the previous day and just a 180 flip extremely fast. So burden on bulls. They came close to proving something. They did not do it on the daily perspective. The daily lower highs are our guide. I am not looking to be any kind of aggressive bull buying bounces as long as we are not at extreme historical RSI levels, which we are not close to, and not being proven anything by the bulls. And we had a nice bounce, but it was just a daily lower high in the end. So it's not game over for the bulls in the short term, but the mountain to climb is a little bit taller after today. The NASDAQ rejected from a triple top as well. Double bottom down at its low right now. So if we break 309.65, the next level we're going to be looking at 307.37. Let's adjust for dividends here. 305.92 and then 295.66. Daily downtrend remains our guide. Bears are confident. And it's the kind of day where bears just absolutely controlled the open. At no point in the first hour of trading were we anything but bearish. And the reason that I've been saying over the past week that today and tomorrow matters to me and not Wednesday for the FOMC is that little 2-hour window, you're not going to see significant capital moved. Today, significant capital moved. Look at the volume. And again, it was all major sectors at the low of the day. A simple rule that I have to try and ensure that I'm looking in the right direction on the day, because if you just eliminate one side of the equation, the decision making on entering trades becomes a lot easier. if I just say, I'm not entering bull trades, if all major sectors, which for me is QQQ, XLF, XLV, we can throw IWM in there, if all of them are at the low of the day at the same time, that gives our siren in our brains telling us it is a full bear control period of time while that's happening. And if that's happening on the day, for me, that means don't look bullish. Don't look for bounces. Bounces will happen. We will cool off 5 and 15-minute RSIs at the least, but the probabilities of you nailing those lows on those small bounces are less favorable than the probabilities of waiting for a bounce and entering bearish on a lower high. So again, if I recognize all major sectors at the low and I say, okay, siren's going off in my brain, I'm not looking bullish, I'm only looking bearish, okay, we're too extended to the downside, I'm going to scout bearish next 15-minute bounce, or I'm going to wait for an hourly bounce. We got to a point today where we could say the most clearly probable, most likely scenario with where the price stands right now is an hourly lower high next bounce. I can't say when we're going to bounce, but I can say that an hourly lower high is extremely likely to form next time we bounce. So I can just sit there and wait. And then when the hourly bounce starts to get going, I scout that bearish entry. We had a scenario where we confirmed a 5-minute inverse head and shoulders to the bulls. So the hourly bounce was underway. We lacked follow through. And we rejected right off 15-minute EMA 12 resistance. And that was a great guide because I could clearly say if 15-minute EMA 12 is resistance, this is an hourly bear flag. And so when we rejected from that resistance level and then continued to reject from it from the rest of the day, we knew an hourly bear flag was likely. And so the hourly bear flag confirmed. But again, it's so much easier when you can eliminate half of the equation. I will only look bearish today. And you might miss some trades, but again, we want probabilities in our favor as much as possible. SMH, massive pullback, but still a daily high or low. Anything above 227.73. And I look at NVDA down 7.3%. And it's how in the world are we not hitting fresh lows? It's because we bounced the last few days. So it is possible for a Hail Mary save from the bulls, but they need to control tomorrow for that to even be a possibility. They need to control the majority of the day tomorrow, and pretty much we need to confirm hourly trend changes to the bulls. So we would need to see a morning bounce, a higher low, and then a close at the high at the end of the day. That's the only way we're going to shift momentum here in the short term. Bears are confident. Tesla, big daily pullback. Tesla was down 8% by the close. There is a little support level at 848.03, but there's a lot of space for an hourly lower high next bounce. I would consider anything under the high of the day as an hourly lower high. If we open higher tomorrow in the market, bears are going to try and pounce on that open again. So it is still a bear-favored environment. And if Tesla drops down, again, the key levels that matter for me, Tesla 700 is a very important level to see if we're going to confirm a monthly downtrend. Apple 150 is a very important level for me that is coming back into play here. And if that level breaks, it's a notable long-term break for me as far as the impact on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Apple bulls want to hold 150 really badly. And we're going to have to adjust that level for the dividend tomorrow. So it will probably be more like in the 149s at that point. XLV, daily inside bar. So again, held on better than everybody else, but it was still very weak today. Still a daily downtrend. XLF, daily pullback. XLF has more space for a daily higher low to try and form than many other sectors. So I look at this, and again, what I said yesterday is, if you're a patient bull, you're not doing anything right now. You're saying, okay, nice bounce. You're getting my attention. I'm interested in the daily higher low attempt. So this is when a bull that missed the bounce but wants a position is looking for an entry. Now, that would, at this point, it would require an aggressive bull to be looking for an entry after a day like today. But the probability that XLF sets a daily higher low is certainly much higher than many other sectors and individual names. Because that low is down at 33.84. Here we are $1.15 above that. And we are $1.15 15 below resistance. We're at the 50% retracement right now. And obviously SPY and QQQ, a much more significant retracement. So that tells me if SPY is going to set a daily high or low here, XLF likely needs to be a lead bull tomorrow. And again, looking at QQQ divided by SPY, if we're going to have confidence in the bulls, this needs to be leading, and it has not been leading. Tried a little bit there, but fresh lows. IWM can also still form a daily high or low, but again, massive retracement at this point. 182.38 key support. XBI, same deal. We're heading down towards the lows, 72.58. We did break it, but we'll consider that a double bottom because it's a few pennies. Daily EMA 12 resistance. TLRY. So there were a couple setups where I was watching if the S&P 500, if the NASDAQ can break this triple top of resistance, I am interested in these setups for bulls. And the big if did not happen, so these bull setups out the window. One of them was if TLRY can break 1540 to set a weekly high or low, a weekly double bottom, and that support level is still holding, but it's a daily bear flag on the table at this point after the big red day today. NIO was the same deal, that 4-hour equilibrium bull break. Okay, I'm scouting a weekly high or low. Nope. Big red drop day today. There was a lot of volume unloading. So down 15%. That's a big drop. That's the biggest drop on my screen. And so again, it's having these setups. I like these names. I am looking for bullish entries on these names. If the broader market can prove to me follow through, and because the broader market did not, then not doing anything with these bull trades, and they're now out the window. Gold started the morning holding on real well, and then joined the broader market weakness. Big upper wick, still a daily downtrend. So have to confirm a daily trend change now for momentum shift. Silver is still weak. Potential daily bear flag on silver. The miners, there's a resistance zone here, 36.17, 36.09, 36.17 is a double top there. Still holding the low, but just barely. Oil, little bit of a red flag. We did get a bull break with some decent follow through, a little fast, hard push this morning. So what would be a red flag for me? And again, I want to determine if I'm a bull on oil, what would give me the red flag? And for me at this point, it would be confirming an hourly downtrend. If you confirm an hourly downtrend after that kind of little bull move into this big pullback, that's a red flag for me, because you do not want to see daily consolidation start right after an equilibrium that everybody can see breaks bull. So that's a very important short-term support level for me on oil, 106.45. We are going to anticipate an hourly lower high to be a result of this bounce. It's just a question of, can we form an equilibrium and recover, or do we drop to the lower low? And if we drop to the lower low, it's going to be a bit of a red flag for oil bulls. Natural gas bulls keeping their complete control, 4-hour EMA 12 support. Looks like we had a little oversold bounce. Your strongest trends are when short-term oversold levels mark higher lows. In this instance, it was not the ideal scenario. The ideal scenario would have been if 15-minute oversold. It had a great bounce, but if 15-minute oversold marks the 4-hour higher low. In the end, it did result in one more leg down. But boy, is natural gas still strong, up at the highs. Certainly still in breakout mode. Energy sector had a new all-time high today, but pulling back a bit. Likely in response to that oil weakness and, of course, the whole market weakness. So, long story short, bears have a lot of days where they control right at the open. And so making an initial entry quickly and then putting a stop over the high of the day would work out a good bit. And the times where you stop out, it would be a small enough loss that the times where it works out, like today, would certainly offset that. So again, that's going to embolden bears. What does that word mean? That means, I don't know. I haven't looked at the definition in a while. Sounds good. Embolden means give them continued strength and resolve, maybe. Give them confidence to keep doing it as long as it keeps working. They're going to keep shorting resistance. They're going to keep shorting at the open. And it's going to require a Hail Mary save from the bulls, which would require a solid green day across the board tomorrow to give a possibility to set a daily high or low on a lot of these names. Burden remains on bulls. We've been saying that for a very long time, and they haven't proven anything over the last few weeks. They've come close. They've given some nice bounces, but no trend changes. Still daily lower highs. Still daily EMA 12 resistance. Still bears. Still a weak market overall. Crypto with a big time leg down. MARA and these crypto names. Their bear flags on the table. This is what the crypto space looked like today. Just absolute weakness. And again, we don't need to nail bottoms. When the market environment shifts, there will be plenty of time to make gains in the other direction. Being a very, very picky bull in this market environment and just waiting for bear entries. If I missed a morning bear entry, I wait for a 15-minute lower high. If we're crushed on the hourly and oversold, I might not want a 15-minute lower high. I might wait for the hourly lower high. And that patience and discipline is key because, again, all it does is just position us in the most likely scenario. So a bull, you know, if I'm looking, what trade can I take? I missed the morning bear entry. What can I do at this point? I can either try and nail the bottom against the wind in a market environment that does not favor nailing the bottom, and the probability of me nailing the bottom is very low, or I can just sit there and wait for the hourly lower high. And granted, the hourly lower high did not get much bounce. You would have had to have been an aggressive bear jumping in on that 15-minute EMA 12 rejection or recognizing the hourly bear flag shaping up. But again, if we want probabilities in our favor, find the time frame where the most likely scenario is the most clear, and then you can just wait for that trade to come to you. All right. It's pretty wild to reflect on a day like today and be like, oh man, this feels like such weakness. And then go back to 2020. Like, how were we even functioning back then at the speed and magnitude of that drop? You almost forget. So much more brutal. This is a much different drop. There's a lot of bounces along the way, and those bounces allow for big red days like today. We got fairly close to the QQQ hitting the 7% down halt, which happened a bunch in the 2020 dump. Fascinating environment. All right, feel free to ask any questions. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for the likes and shares and subscribes. And we will see you soon. Do good things. All right, we're going to do some sun tea action. First ingredient is rhubarb, and you eat the stalks here. You just peel them down a little bit. Tastes kind of like a lemon, juicy lemon, a lot of vitamin C. Next we got mint. You can see the mint here is spreading. Mint is pretty invasive, but I'm okay with it taking over. Got spearmint and mountain mint, a whole bunch of kinds. These are the hardy kiwis that I planted to climb up the trellis. Last ingredient will be lilacs. These flowers are edible. Give the water a nice essence. This cloud of scent has been awesome this year. Now you throw it in some fresh, clean well water, and the flavors and vitamins and good stuff will leach out. Strain it and chug it.